Edge.
Before we get started, check out our sponsor, chcadells.com. Get all of your survival and outdoor gear exclusively at CH Cadells. Check out their survival foods, watches, M48 Ops gear, and the LifeStraw personal water filter. That's chcadells.com. Always be prepared. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. In today's video, I'm going to explain exactly what you need to know about Ukraine. For those of you in the know that have watched any of my videos, studied my channel, or perhaps opened a book, or just know the actual facts of the matter, you would know that the United States of America, Obama, and his allies, Western allies, and the corporate interests that he represents, have been behind a very illegal, aggressive, deadly, and violent coup, a successful revolution of the former rightfully democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych in the Ukraine, who just happened to be friends and friendly with not just the Russian people, but with Vladimir Putin, and have since installed a puppet of sorts in the name of Poroshenko. You see, the European Union, Angela Merkel, and the United States don't like the fact that Putin has been enjoying a monopoly in the exportation of natural gas, NG, and other petroleum-related products for some time now to the collapsing Eurozone, to the collapsing European Union, currently experiencing zero growth and real negative interest rates. Bonds in Germany, for example, Angela Merkel's part of the world, with negative yields. That means that investors, people really duped by the Ponzi scheme of central banking throughout the world, actually paying the German government to hold their own money. Of course, this also has built into the strategy of war, the Crimean Peninsula, which had actively and recently seceded from the Ukrainian government to join the Russian Federation with a 90+% vote, is also a strategic waypoint for the Russian Navy and the Black Sea Fleet. Of course, much of this has had to do recently with the collapse in oil prices coming off the peak of 60%, putting pressure not just on the Russian government, these sanctions, aggressive sanctions on Putin, but also other enemies of the United States like Iran, and trying to bring them to the negotiating table over their nuclear program. Meanwhile, bombs are going off. In fact, estimates now account for up to 50,000 people dead in the Ukraine, soldiers fighting on the ground and also civilians. Loss of life, loss of homes, people running out of food and water because of the United States' interests and their shadow campaign of actively arming insurgents and extremist groups like neo-Nazis, again, all of these facts, to overthrow the former rightfully democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych. All of this boiling to war. In addition to this meeting on Monday with Angela Merkel and the President of the United States, there will also be a very key, what they call peacekeeping meeting in Minsk, Belarus on Wednesday, where Poroshenko, the puppet installed by the West, Angela Merkel, Francois Hollande of France, and also Putin will allegedly get around a table and discuss peace. Of course, I don't think there will be any peace. In fact, there's been more bombs dropped over the weekend. Mushroom cloud bomb, very violent imagery. Some guessed maybe potentially was a tactical nuke of some kind. All of this is only going to escalate. Even if they come to some kind of short-term agreement, there's no way that President Vladimir Putin is going to agree to a ceasefire without control of the Crimean Peninsula and this strategic part of the world and this strategic waypoint. Again, President Putin is only responding to the illegal actions of the West, to the coup, to this shadow campaign, just like the United States of America has been actively engaged in illegal wars and occupations in places like Iraq and Afghanistan for several decades now, based on lies, weapons of mass destruction and WMDs. Total bullshit. The same thing is happening in Ukraine. We've also seen this in places like Egypt with their revolution and re-revolution. This is all about creating instability in this part of the world because, again, the West and our collapsing economy, our collapsing financial markets don't like the fact that the East is rising. And it's why this is all brewing and pushing to more and more war. So watch Ukraine. It is the principal chess move at this given point in history. I'll be watching it very intently this week to see what happens. Also, Greece is on the table, potentially the first European pigs nation to exit the collapsing Eurozone. I see a lot of debate, hear a lot of debate, people saying, when will the Eurozone collapse? The answer to that question, it already has. What we're experiencing now is just a controlled demolition. We have a controlled demolition in Europe. We also have a controlled demolition here in the United States of America. It's exactly why former Fed chairmen like Ben Bernanke behind closed doors have admitted that he'll never see normalized interest rates in his lifetime. Of course, the Federal Reserve is likely to make a symbolic move higher in interest rates sometime this year, but it will only be that. Symbolic. Real rates can never rise. They must keep rates zero, and I think actually rates could go much lower. We could see the 10-year approach 1% from its current range of 1.8%. It's been trading in that ballpark over the past couple of weeks. People said rates can't go any lower. Well, I beg to differ. I think they could actually go much, much lower. So continue to watch oil, continue to watch our financial markets, but the main focus is Ukraine this week, the peace talks in Minsk, and escalating tensions. At some point, this is going to boil out of control like a boiling pot of water, and I expect it'll happen very soon. I'm Christopher Green. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.